All right, good. What is it, Chris? Sunday?
Yeah, it's still Sunday.
It's
They're all
still
a blur
Sunday.
anyway these days
It,
in
it, and,
Ohio.
it, and it's only the beginning. I'm with Chris Cimino. We're tag teaming for what is looking like, Chris, a significant snowstorm throughout the tri-state area.
Yeah, the Snow Bros are back together again, so that's always trouble when we're here together. But yeah, this looks like a heavy hitter and pretty good probability for a large part of the area. But there are again some moving parts to this, as there always are, and we'll get into that as we get through this discussion. But I'm kind of excited. I'm pumped for another storm,
You know,
and again, this is happening at a time, but it's happening at a time at least. Yes, there's a commute, but it's kind of a pseudo commute, so people
w-
are forewarned at least.
yeah, which has been pseudo for about a year now. Anyway, what a
Yes,
year it's
please.
been. I hope you guys can hear us. If you guys can hear us, send us a little thumbs up. I got my comments on the side over here. I'll continue to turn my head. Yes, Chris, I am excited about this. Listen, meteorologically speaking, a lot of ingredients are coming together for this to be a significant, possibly even crippling snowstorm through much of the tri-state area. The ingredients, we have the cold air in place, an upper level feature in the jet stream that is going to slow down, and a ton of moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. You combine the three. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. So we're good, Chris. You combine all these ingredients together, and it makes meteorologists. Is it the Super Bowl of football? Yeah, this could be a handful of times where we get all these ingredients to come together the way they are.
Yeah, all the pieces are certainly there for the puzzle this time around. It's not sort of waiting for something to happen. They're all kind of already in place, and then they just have to phase together, which looks more and more likely as we've watched probably 3, 4, 5 days out. And you've noticed the forecast had fluctuated a little bit, in some cases extreme fluctuations. But now, as the storm itself is getting closer, the consensus is coming into agreement that this is going to be a heavy duty type of snowstorm for most of the area. And again, certainly with winds 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, we're talking about blizzard like conditions, even though at this point, I know we're still waiting to see if a blizzard warning officially gets issued, but that's just semantics at this point. I think,
It
for all
is.
intents and purposes, we know what it's going to be like tomorrow. Yeah.
It is, Chris. And, we're going to start to get into this. And again, you and I have worked together at Channel 4 for over 13 straight years. We've been through some blizzards together. And I have to rank this up, Chris,
Mhm.
with the top possibly 5 scenarios that I've experienced in my lifetime if this comes to fruition, and most of it says snow throughout the tri-state
Mhm.
area. You can agree that those ingredients are there, and we're going to talk about that right now. And
Yes.
first thing we're going to look at, Chris, as I take a look at the surface features, folks, there's going to be a storm that is going to intensify quite rapidly off the East Coast from tonight through tomorrow. It's going to get tucked in, hang out, and not leave, and actually probably do a loop, stall, and move slowly for 24 to 30, 36 hours. And this is where the concern is with the heavy snow. I was shocked, I have to admit. I did not expect it to be snowing, Chris, at my house. I know you probably don't have snow there yet, you said, but I think it was like 1 o'clock in
No.
the afternoon, it started snowing. I probably have out here in Hunterdon County already 2 inches of snow. So already I'm like, uh-oh.
Mm.
Already
Yeah.
this
Well, yeah.
moisture laden system is there. Why don't we talk about, we
And
talked about the storm. Why don't we talk about, Chris, I'm going to hand it off to you, the upper level features. And I am such in awe of the dynamics of this jet stream and what's
mm,
happening. I'm gonna give it over to you if I can throw it over there.
okay.
And whoops. And I'm going to step out of the way, and we could just talk about this. So here's the 500 millibar map, and why don't we just go through it in
Right.
time? This is about tonight.
Right. So these are, again, you're looking at here is the steering winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, about 30,000 plus feet up. And you notice that circle in the middle of the screen there. That's an indication of a cutoff low or cutoff storm system in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And what that is going to do, number one, rounding the base of that, there's a lot of energy. That's feeding into the storm that's developing along the coast. That's the one that's going to become the nor'easter at the surface. But when you have an upper level low like that, you see that round circle over New Jersey, New York, the tri state area, that tends to capture the surface low, what we call the surface low of the storm. That slows it down. That's why unlike last several storms we've had around here, where they come in and they're out in 18 to 24 hours max, this one's going to sit around the impact because it's getting trapped by that upper level energy, that upper level cutoff low, and it's going to sit with us probably through the bulk of Tuesday as well. So while the snow may not be as heavy all day Tuesday, there's still to be moderate bands of snow Tuesday. And that means you're talking about snow now where you are, John. It's snowing already now, snowing through Tuesday afternoon. So that's a prolonged period of snow. And again, it's gonna stack up. So that's why we're looking at such large amounts. In some cases, I wouldn't be surprised some parts of the area exceed a couple of feet with it before all is said and done.
An amazing situation, a great explanation, Chris. When you have an upper level low like this, and this is what we look at as meteorologists, as Chris said, it's going to capture the system, and it's going to stall it. Cold air is in place, a ton of moisture is in place, and the high to the north will act as a pressure gradient and create those strong to severe winds, which will bring blizzard-like conditions. And what I'm going to show now is the actual surface precipitation from the 3-kilometer NAM. This is really honing in as the atmosphere is gridded in kilometers down to 3 kilometers, okay? Now, this model, the NAM, nailed the December storm with the mixing that occurred, especially over central New Jersey. So as we take a look at this, this is for the blue is the snow, and obviously the green is the rain. So we're looking at this overnight tonight with some rain over south central New Jersey. Okay, but look at this heavy snow that develops tomorrow morning, midday, Chris, through the afternoon. Here's the low. So where you are makes all the difference in the world. But the blue, look at Long Island, snowing like crazy. And look at this by tomorrow afternoon. That is the brunt of the storm. Heavy windswept snow along coastal ocean. They're going to get the rain. And then this thing continues to pivot those intense bands, the heavy axis, the deformation zone, right through Tuesday. Long Island, you're in a dry slot, because the low is going to throw up that dry air over central and eastern Long Island, cut off the precipitation, maybe even a mix. Still snowing Tuesday, on and off, light to moderate, with accumulating snow continuing through much of the tri-state area. And Chris, as you see, it's still snowing by Tuesday evening. This could be a 36 to 48 hour event. That's the issue with this. The duration, 95% of the time we get snow events, they're flying up the coast. Those 5% of the time, the handful of time, Chris, it looks like it's going to be this scenario.
Yeah, this one reminds me of, I always like to throw one of these at you because I'm like, well, before you were born, but this reminds me of a storm. We had 2 storms in 1978, in the winter of 78. It was the second one in February of 1978 that had this cutoff. And that was one of the first times, I mean, I was all of 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. But that was one of the first times I'd ever actually seen that happen where, yeah, you got the brunt of the snow, then you thought the storm was over. Oh, no. 24 hours later, you're still getting moderate bands of snow right through the afternoon, through the overnight. And I remember being amazed by that. That was a super long duration storm. That one was about 18 to 24 inches in most of the area. So I have no reason to doubt we wouldn't see totals like that this go around as well. But again, that, like you said, on top of the wind, is really, that's where we think we're going to see some blizzard-like conditions tomorrow, especially afternoon to the evening.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris? I got a comment here. Again, I'm looking over my shoulder here because my comment is not working on my software. Thunder snow, and I do think that may happen at some point throughout some area in the tri-state region with that upper level low, the way it is, and all the dynamics and energy. What are your thoughts on that? Thunder snow? Yes? No?
Yeah, I think with something like this, especially with great vorticity advection, which is sort of adding to lift to the air, when you start to get that going in a system like this in rapid development, yes, thunderstorm is certainly a possibility, not necessarily widespread. But again, in that scenario, you start to see snowfall rates of 2 to 3 plus inches per hour. So again, those are the areas where these bands set up. Those are the areas that probably stand the best chance of seeing as much as 18 to 24, if not even locally a little bit higher than that. So
yes, and
this is a serious situation.
It is, Chris. I'm very, very concerned about it. I'm concerned about power outages. We talked about this earlier before we went on. This is the peak wind gust map from the 3 kilometer NAM. Again, I'm using that because it's a finer grid, atmospherically speaking. Wow, what the heck did I just say? All right, so here are the winds.
Oh,
50
party
mile an
pants.
hour winds. 50 mile an hour winds, Long Beach Island up to 60 mile an hour winds with blowing snow, whiteout conditions. Here's what we can expect, folks. Chris, we're going to break this down right now. Long duration event, 36 to 48 hours. Tonight, periods of snow, few inches by morning, especially south and west of New York City. The brunt of the storm is from midday tomorrow through midnight tomorrow night. What does that mean? I think, and Chris, you can agree with this, there will be a blizzard with winds in excess of 50 miles an hour, snowfall rates of 1 to 3 inches an hour, thunder snow, whiteout conditions, strong winds, drifting, and isolated power outages. And then it continues. Remember, Long Island gets a little bit of a dry slot, possibly with that one model, although you're still going to get a foot of snow. I'm going to show you that in a minute. On and off snow Tuesday with a mix east just because of the boundary layer that's coming up the coastline throughout that region. So all in all, Chris, it really does seem like probably a top 5 or 7 event in our lifetime if it does come out to pan out what these models are giving us.
Yeah, certainly going to be in the top 10, could be in the top 5, or depending upon, exactly where you are and what you've experienced in the past. But this is a type of storm that, even though, it's snowing now, it'll be snowing overnight, particularly from the city on north, it may not be that terrible overnight tonight.
Correct.
That should not lull people into getting out in their cars and doing their normal commute tomorrow, because you are not getting back
I
in
agree
transit
100%.
already, dealing with some issues and shutting down things. So stay put. And we're used to that by now. So this is not a stretch to tell everybody stay home tomorrow, unless you have a job, you're needed implicitly. But there's no reason to get out of the roads from any time later tonight through probably Tuesday morning at least.
Yeah, and Chris, there will be a bit of a break tomorrow. What we're getting now is warm advection snow, meaning the primary low is dying over
Right.
the Ohio Valley, the secondary is developing east of Virginia Beach, and there's going to be a time, I think overnight tonight or maybe tomorrow morning, where there's going to be that transition, and the snow will lighten up maybe a little bit for a couple hours, but you saw that band, that heavy axis coming right at us, and that is the band that will make it snow to beat the band for tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. Now the snow amounts. Here we go. You ready?
Get ready. Ready.
Here we go. All right.
Hey, Captain.
A general foot to 20 inches in this entire area of white. Now, all the computer models are agreeing to this amount where it stays predominantly snow. The bust zone, central and coastal New Jersey. I think there still will be, Chris and I thought about this earlier, even a foot of snow in northern Ocean County through Monmouth County, again, up to 20 plus inches. Eastern Long Island, I think Long Island is going to get hammered tomorrow, snow-wise, just because that cold air tends to sit right about there, Chris. We've seen it so many times. Deep blue, heavy snow. I think that setup's going to happen, and then it's going to pivot, and that warm air is going to work in tomorrow night into Tuesday. But again, that problematic area that's going to be concerning with the bust forecast is from coastal Monmouth down through portions of Ocean County. So here you go.
Right.
Possibly up to almost 2 feet of snow somewhere in, I don't know, how many people live in this area? 20 million people? That's crippling in my eyes, Chris.
Yeah, and I think again, the forecast issue always, for some reason, my daughter lives in Monmouth County and southeast Monmouth County, so I always get the question, do I have work tomorrow? How bad is it going to be here? And that's always the area that's kind of on the cusp right now. And even earlier, we had somebody ask about that. Are we going to get 20 inches here? I think near the immediate coast and southeast sections of Monmouth County into Ocean County, probably not. Northwest sections of Monmouth County and western sections, as well as Ocean, they can easily get in that foot to 16 inches. But the wild card is right near the coast. Same thing over eastern Long Island. Pointing out the eastern Long Island scenario too, John. I think we had seen in the model the transition over eventually to mix or rain, but by then the damage will be done. It'll be probably just some light drizzle or freezing drizzle that comes on
Right,
top of the snow.
right,
I don't think you're going
right,
to see heavy rain wash away that snow. That's not going to
right.
happen.
I'm just checking the weather service and see if anything new came out. Wow, nothing yet. Here's what happens, Chris. The Philadelphia National Weather Service and the New York City National Weather Service still has not put out an update for their warnings, with the exception, unless I'm not getting information down here, but I don't see it. Do you see? I would have seen an alert on my end.
No,
I think
no,
they're
yeah,
contemplating. Maybe they're over contemplating this whole situation. I mean, it's 5 o'clock. Usually the zone forecast, and I'm not
right.
busting their chops, but usually by now, you got to get that forecast
You
out. I
sure?
think they're contemplating here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure sometimes what goes into the actual issuance of things with them. I know, this again, it's the government agency. There's certain stipulations, I think, and guidelines that they follow. But again, to my point, I've reached the point where do I really need somebody to tell me there's a blizzard warning when most meteorologists are telling me there's going to be blizzard conditions from tomorrow? It's
Yeah,
just sort of puts the stamp of
I
approval on it, I
I
guess. So
agree.
you
You know
get,
what,
you get the point.
Chris, perfectly said. The stamp of approval. you know, um,
Well,
New York City, wet or dry snow? That's a great
and
question, Chris. Why don't you take that one? Do you what? Where is it going to be a really heavy wet snow as opposed to a dry fluffy?
Well, I think what's going to happen with this particular system, because it's going through some phases, we have very cold, dry air in place. And for example, the snow that you're seeing now outside your window is very fluffy. And the initial push of the snow, I think, is going to be powdery and fluffy because the dew points are still fairly low. But as the storm gets cranking and the areas closest to that rain snow mix line, we'll start to see a wetter snow. So if you're closer to the coast, probably within 20, 30 miles of the coast, even there, if you stay all snow, I think it'll become a wetter snow as we go through it, and then probably go back to a slightly powdery snow on Tuesday as the colder air wraps back around the storm. So there's not a clear cut saying of this might be marble cake when you cut through here. If you wait till the end of the snowfall, you might have dry snow at the bottom, wet snow in the middle, and another layer of drier snow on top. But
Right.
no matter how you slice it, everybody is going to see a substantial snowfall, wet, dry, or something in between.
Well, here's your map,
I mean,
Chris,
there
and
you're
that's
looking
a,
at it.
yeah. Then that's why I stepped out of the way while you were talking. It was a perfect a voiceover over this. Where the areas where you see more colors, that is where it's going to be more of a wetter snow. The areas of purple, especially the blue, but the areas probably
Mm-hmm.
from New York City north and west, Chris, your typical fluff factor for snow, if you will. Do you agree with that?
No, absolutely. And again, when you're dealing with, and that's also the difference about this type of system. We've had storms in the past where, as the storm evolves, it taps into colder air. This cold air is already in place. The ground is very cold. We've been below freezing. So the first flake that falls sticks. Where in the past we've had, well, you've got to cool the ground down a little bit, get the snowfall rate up fast enough to start making it accumulate. So you've spent some of the moisture already just getting the accumulation. But look at that dark blue band, and it's sitting over northern New Jersey, over the city, over the boroughs for several hours. That easily is an inch to 2 inches per hour. So if you're talking just 6 to 8 inches, 6 to 8 hours of that, do the math. You're looking at potentially a foot to maybe 16 to 18 inches. So again, the snowfall rates are really going to ramp up as we go into the day
And there you
tomorrow,
go.
especially
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Absolutely, Chris. I mean, it's just amazing how that back zone just pivots there, as you can see. Somebody could get 2 feet of snow out of this. How many more times can you update the snow amounts? Well, listen, it's a nowcast situation. We know that. We have to follow the radar trends. And just an amazing amount of snow that is going to fall very quickly over the next 24 to 36 hours. Any comments on your page,
I
Chris,
don't
that you
think
want to scan?
I, I have not seen anything, but again, I think I'm having an issue, like I always do. Uh, but this
Let's
is a
see.
different issue. Let me see if I can get some comments. Hang on. Nothing in Midtown. Okay. How about the Bronx? Well, that's where I am, but yeah, we're definitely in that foot to foot and a half range. Not a problem for us here in the Bronx. But I don't want. See, if I look at the comments, I have to hear me. I don't
Oh,
want
I
to do that.
hear you. That's
Let me.
what that thing is. John, some honey and tea.
You're not
Yes,
typing.
Shelly
Tea and
Kaplan.
honey for you.
You have no idea what I've been through. It's all good. Guys, please update later. Jennifer Amorosi, 2 feet.
Thank you for an
John.
accurate
So
forecast. Oh, somebody
there
did
you
agree
go.
with me. That's like the 78 storm. All right, I like that.
There you go.
Okay. There's somebody as old as me that remembers that.
Chris,
All
the
right.
1978 storm is why I got into weather. I was
Oh,
I
that
don't
was
even
the
have.
one that. Okay.
That's the
Yeah,
one that did it. Yeah,
yeah.
and we, as we did, we follow it. Snowing nicely in Hackettstown. Megan, thank you. Mark Borden. These comments are just flying
How's
by.
our
For some reason,
How's
I
our buddy
cannot.
Mark doing?
He's out in Central PA. They're going to get hammered as well.
Okay,
What's
Governor Murphy
Hillsborough's?
just declared state of emergency.
Oh, did he Murphy declared a state of emergency?
Yeah, state of emergency just declared state of emergency. Chances of it staying mostly snow in Ocean County depends on where in Ocean County you are. Again, if you're from the Garden State East, you'll more than likely get some mixing going on. That's going to be the tricky
Right,
part. If you're west and
right.
further north, that better chance of it staying all snow.
Gotcha.
Spotswood, New Jersey, 2 inches plus in Spotswood. Mikey, thank you for that. Shelley Kaplan is older than me. Okay, thank you for making me
Wow.
feel this way. John, thanks for the updates. You look great.
Well, thank
Do
you.
you ever get old? Class of '85. There you go. It's
There
amazing
you
what
go.
Botox can make. No, just kidding. You're the handsome devil you always were. Natural.
There's no work done
Uh,
yet, big guy.
I hear
Here's
you.
what.
Hey, nothing
Hell no,
here.
it's all joke. Hey, listen. Here's what we can expect. So why don't we just go through this again? Because people are coming in and going on this, and I'm going to see if I got any comments here. Hold on. No caller ID. I'm going to hang up that phone, and take it away, Chris.
All right. So to break it down and try to make it as succinct as possible, but the main focus, number one, to understand is this is a long duration storm. This is not one of those 12 to 24-hour jobs that comes in and comes out pretty quickly. This is going to stick around. It's already snowing through a good portion of New Jersey. It will probably still be snowing Tuesday afternoon, tapering to flurries by the end of the day. So that gives you perspective. It could last 36 to 48 hours. Tonight, periods of snow will vary in intensity. This is not the main body of the storm tonight. But even at that, being so cold, anything that falls will accumulate. Parts of the area could see a few inches. We're probably looking at that 2 to 4 inch range, maybe a little higher in some spots overnight tonight. But John, the brunt of the storm tomorrow, midday through midnight tomorrow night going to Tuesday. And we've talked about it. Snowfall rates. Tell the folks, what are we looking at potentially in terms of types of snowfall rates?
Chris, totally phenomenal in my eyes. This is, again, like the Super Bowl of football. 1 to 3 inches of snow per hour tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. It will be a whiteout. It will be a blizzard. Whatever the National Weather Service says, let them do what they want to do. But Chris and I do think there will be a blizzard over portions of the area. And let's just talk about that for a second, Chris. When you and I were back in the day, a blizzard, the criteria for a blizzard, 3 consecutive hours of falling
Right.
or blowing snow, visibility below
Quarter
one
mile or
quarter of
less
a mile,
visibility. Right.
and
Right.
what else? Whiteout conditions.
The sustained winds, I think, had to
Of
be, the sustained winds had to be 35.
35, was it
I
sustained
think
or
it was
was it
35.
gusts? It was either gust or sustained. Yeah, yeah. But that's definitely
Well, it
that's.
actually changed from even, well, yeah, it changed. Hmm.
Oh, it did.
Somebody,
Yes,
by
it
the way,
did.
just asked, is this going to be the all-time record at Central Park? I don't think this will be the all-time record at Central Park, which was the storm in 2016, 27.5 inches. That was the all-time record. I don't think we'll quite get there, but it's not it's not off the plate yet, but probably not, I would say. At this point.
I agree.
What do you
Any
think?
chance? Any chance? Chris, I agree. I honestly, 10 to 20 inches plus. I think that's I'm not sorry, 12 to 20 inches plus, as we said. Is it possible? Yes. Probable? No. That's my thought on the 27 and a half.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
Possible?
think, right. Go ahead.
Any chance Ocean County, the storm moves a little east, bringing all snow? Here's the deal with Ocean County. Love the county. I'm a Long
Mhm.
Beach Island fan. Um, it's just surrounded, that eastern coast by water, and then the intercoastal waterway, and then you have LBI. And is there a chance? I don't think. I think Chris. I think Ocean County will mix with rain from the Parkway
Yeah,
east.
definitely. Here's a funny question. There's
Yeah.
always a wise guy in the crowd. Any way I could sneak in a quick 9 holes tomorrow? Yeah, eating 9 donuts. That's how you do it, or bagels. That's going to be your 9 holes.
Very funny. Oh, here,
I,
excuse me. Ed from my church said that there's 4 inches of fine powdery snow out here in Hunterdon County. He cleared the walkway with a leaf blower. Nice job. It is, Chris, the snow out there right now, because the dew point was like 8 degrees when it started. The dew point is a
yeah,
relative,
yeah,
is a measure of
powder.
in relationship to the temperature of how moist the atmosphere is. So when you get snow at 8 degree dew point, it is like Utah snow. I mean, it's champagne snow, it's powder. And that's what we have out here in western
Great
New
skiing
Jersey.
snow. Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm. Great
I'm just
skiing
trying to
snow.
get these comments. Anything else we want to add here before we get out of here? What can go wrong with
Oh,
this?
we
What
did.
can go wrong with this storm?
Besides, we did leave out an important element to a
Ah,
bunch of people who do live along the coast.
thank you.
And because of this being a long duration storm, I think we're near a full moon still at this point. So there's coastal flood warnings up for pretty much the entire area. But places like Freeport in particular, they're set up for major flooding there and moderate flooding from Montauk down the Jersey Shore. The coastal areas of Connecticut, they're saying minor to moderate in places like New London, then once you get deeper into the Sound. But we're looking at, again, prolonged northeasterly fetch, and that's going on for 36 hours, maybe a little bit more. So several cycles, several high tide cycles. And the problem with that is, particularly in Freeport, you get a big high tide, you get some minor flooding, a lot of the water gets trapped. The next high tide cycle adds on top of that, and the next high tide cycle adds on top of that. So if you're living along the coast, I'm sure your local authorities are going to keep you posted. If you have to evacuate, get to higher ground or get away from where you are. Some areas are certainly more prone to significant and major flooding than others, but do be aware of that. That is a definitive part of this storm if you're living along the coast.
Chris, thank
That's
you
a nice
for
map.
it is a nice looking map. I got to thank the National Weather Service for this. The reason why, Chris, this is happening, the coastal flood warning, look at the storm. It just sits and it sits and it sits, piling up the ocean against the shoreline. I mean, there could be some moderate to possibly severe coastal flooding, as you said, Freeport and those areas that are prone to
Mm-hmm.
inundation with this type of situation. When are we going to do this again? When are we going to get back into this? Tomorrow?
Well, I think early tomorrow, as this thing is underway, to make sure everything is still falling into place, and if anything has shifted or changed, as we know, weather occasionally does that.
It sure does.
So, I'm game. I'm going to be up, by the way, at probably 4 in the morning, taking my girlfriend to work safely.
I have,
So I'll
I
be up
have,
probably. Don't
I,
don't get any ideas though. Don't tell me to do this at 5 a.m.
no, there's not going to be a 5 o'clock.
Those things are gone, dude.
I have to take care of
Okay.
my wife. We got to figure out a little bit of transportation. Um, it will all work out. You know what? It will work out. We'll figure it out. Listen, we're giving you the snow amounts one more time. Okay. These are, this isn't gospel, folks. This is what we're forecasting, Chris and I. Um, Can something go wrong? Absolutely. But this is what we're thinking at this point in time, a general foot to just under 2 feet of snow for the areas of white. That's where we are. And then southern sections, dramatic drop off. That area, Chris, as we talked about, is who's going to bust or what, who's going to get what within 25
Yeah.
miles as a crow flies, and also eastern Long Island. So again, the brunt of the storm. Go for it. When it was the brunt of the storm, and then we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, part of the storm really kicks up in intensity. We're talking about snowfall rates of an inch to 2 inches plus an hour, maybe even some thunder snows from about midday tomorrow. So let's categorize it close to noon, give or take 1 or 2 hours, right through tomorrow evening, probably up until about 10 o'clock or midnight. But it's not done yet because then we continue to get light to occasionally moderate bands of snow, I think, right through a good portion of Tuesday. So that's kind of the interesting part about this storm, I think, really is the duration. You're not going to be able to
Right.
go out and shovel and get right down to your walkway after 12 hours because you're going to have to go back out again and do it another 12 hours later. So, this is one we'll continue to watch for you. Be smart, stay put, and, we'll keep you posted if anything changes dramatically.
Yeah, Chris, one quick thing. Isolated power outage is a concern too with those high winds, especially along the coast. I would just be prepared, folks, if
Sure.
you're along the coastal
Hmm.
areas. Winds in excess of 55 and 60 miles an hour can cause some power outages and obviously some coastal flooding. So all in all, that's the thought process, Chris. As we said, a general foot to 20 plus inches of snow for 20 plus million people. Simply amazing. But we're
A
going
lot
to
of
monitor
people.
the situation.
Yeah, a lot of snow blowing going on. Yep.
We'll leave it at that. Yes, yes, sir. Chris, great seeing you, and
All right. See you next time.
I always appreciate getting together with a colleague of mine from WNBC that we've known each other for a long time and worked with each other in the Weather Center at that station for 13 straight years. It's great seeing you, my man.
Same here. Always fun. Stay well. Stay safe, everybody. The Snow Bros will be back tomorrow morning.
See